consultant. I've been here just over 2 years, and so all of us BHCs are licensed counselors or social workers. And what we do is we work with primary care and dental. We help the providers to work with patients who have either behavioral health needs, maybe need to go through open access for behavioral health services. It's bushcraft and primitive skills. And what that basically involves is learning old ways of doing things out in the woods, so that you can be in good shape, or you can go out in the woods and you can get by, you can survive out there if you need to. But I particularly like it because it connects me to the old ways of doing things. I grew up going to church camps for years, like my whole adolescence, childhood, teen years, all that. And when I was in junior camp, we had like a survival camp. It was kind of cool with the big tents, and the directors had us climbing trees and, with ropes and stuff like that. And so I just really, it was the first time I got into that kind of thing and saw some of like fire making skills and things like that. And I just fell in love with it. And then when I moved out to Missouri in '92 to start college, I got involved in some of that stuff through college and with friends and things like that. So I've just kind of kept at it slowly, but as I've been getting older, I've been actually spending more time doing it. It's just relaxing, and it's kind of really cool to learn those skills. There's a lot of it I do on my own, just because the organizations are spread out. We have 3 or 4 that are in different parts of Missouri, Kansas side, things like that. So actually in late February this year, I actually went to the Midwest Bushcraft weekend down in Lebanon, Missouri, and there were people from all over the state, and then the eastern side of Kansas that had come to show skills such as fire lighting, ropes and rigging, archery, and flint knapping, living outdoors, fly fishing, those kind of things. So there was a lot of different skills in there that do apply in some ways to bushcraft and primitive skills, some a little bit beyond that. I think a big part of it is I'm kind of old school, but I've always been an outdoors person. From the time I was a little kid, I was out in the woods building forts and swinging on vines over, ravines, doing crazy stuff, but I've always enjoyed learning the old ways or the primitive ways of doing things without, say, power tools or a lighter or something like that, I think we're losing those old ways, and those things are important. So I just find it fascinating, and I think it's really cool. When I was younger, I had a couple of instances when I was at that camp. I ended up climbing a 40-foot tree on small 2x4 blocks with ropes and rigging gear, and we also had a fire lighting contest, which is basically campfire, learning to set up a campfire correctly, and it was a contest to kind of see who could get all their materials there and get the fire set up and get it going and keep it going, and I won that contest. And of course it was fun, and it was funny too, but those I think are memorable to me because they were when I was younger, and that's kind of what instilled in me that desire to learn those skills. I do a lot of practicing on my own. We have the state park that's close to Warrensburg. It's about 10 miles from where I live in Warrensburg, and so I will often go out there and practice, but I also practice on a friend's property. They have about 80 acres, and so that's the big part of it, is going out, spending time in the woods and doing the things. About once a month at least. In the summertime that does increase, but I do go out in the wintertime because part of the whole process of that is knowing that you can go out and take care of yourself in the woods at any time of the year, any season, any weather, however cold it is. And so I usually just put on my backpack and I head out into the woods. I, of course, let somebody know where I'm at, and I will practice different things. A lot of times I'm practicing the bow drill or setting up and rigging tarps. I will practice knots, just a variety of different things. So it's really, I will do campcraft too, and that's about building things out of what you find in nature, and not using power tools. Using knives to just find what you need and figure out how to put it together. I think the biggest has been, the camp directors that I had. I've kept in touch with them. Online, of course, I have several books that I look at, but the real deal is connecting with others who do bushcraft and primitive skills and learning from them, because you can only learn so much from books and YouTube, So that's why, connecting at these group events or with individuals that do it, which I have had a hard time finding people, especially women, that are into that. But yeah, just getting with others who do it and then practicing and having fun with it. And I do camp a lot. I RV camp now because of my health, but I will practice when I'm out camping and RVing, by lighting the fire with flint and steel as opposed to whipping out the lighter. I'm not a very patient person. I have struggled with perfectionism to some degree, and so it has really challenged me to slow down and to take my time with things, to know that I'm not going to just go out in the woods and be able to put together a bow drill and get a fire going in like 30 minutes. It's not going to happen. And it probably isn't going to happen for, it may take a few months to get that down. But it's just, that's had an amazing impact on, reducing stress and slowing down and looking at things a little more clearly. I don't ever feel like work interferes with my ability to do those things. I mean, of course, we all have to go to work every week, but I feel like Compass does a really good job of paying attention to that need for a good work-life balance, and also just making sure that we're checking in with ourselves and with each other to monitor our stress and make sure we're not running ourselves into the ground and burnout, So, yeah, we have a good team here, and I really like the nurses that I work with. We have a lot of fun. It can get stressful at times in primary care. We're always moving. It's fast-paced. There's a lot to do, but we figure it out, So, and I enjoy the providers I work with too. I think that has helped me to be more patient with some of the patients that I've worked with. A lot of times, we work in a rural area, and a lot of folks that struggle with just having enough money to have groceries and pay their bills, and so they can have a lot of needs, and that can be taxing at times, when we're trying to help them with a lot of different things. So it has helped me to take a step back and look at those situations and see them differently, and to realize that it might take more time to help them, and that's okay. I think as long as we're, present with our patients, our clients, and really listening to them, that at the end of the day, they're going to feel heard, and they're going to know that we really do care and we want to help them. So a lot of people start getting into bushcraft and primitive skills by going to YouTube and starting there, because that's a wealth of information. And that's a good place to start. Books are good too, especially if you can't find somebody that's doing that. But keeping in mind that you're just not going to get it all from there. So what I did was I looked online for other groups and organizations like, in Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, that were doing these types of activities, and then sought out when are they going to be where, and so that I could go meet some of these people and get involved. And that's been really helpful. I think that like being creative and trying new things is so important. So, I think it's pretty natural to be on the fence about things. You're looking at, okay, how much time do I have? Do I really want to do this? How much is it going to cost me? All those things. And so, I would just encourage them to jump in. And if they're too scared to start, for whatever reason, see if there's somebody around that you can go with, because that always helps, especially your first or second time. But you're not going to know until you try. And oftentimes what people find is once you go and you do the thing, you're so glad you did. So to me, it's worth it, because you got to have stuff outside of work. You got to have things that really pull at your soul and make you want to get out there and have fun and enjoy your life.